Hello, I'm Jonasz Rewiński and this is Military Mind. Armed conflicts, defense and security, land, sea and air. We've got you covered. On the night of the 28th of November, Russia launched a new attack on Ukraine, using one ballistic missile and 72 drones. Ukrainian air defenses managed to shoot down most of the UAVs involved. In the Dnipro region, Russian strikes on the 27th of November killed one person and wounded another. Civilian infrastructure and industrial facilities were among the targets of the attack. Meanwhile, inside Russia, Ukrainian forces carried out a large-scale strike on the country's energy infrastructure. A series of explosions rocked Saratov, with residents reporting loud blasts and smoke. Local media suggested possible hits near the oil refinery and the airfield used by Russia to launch strategic bombers. Saratov hosts one of the region's key refineries, producing gasoline, diesel, fuel oil, and more than 20 other petroleum products. The region is also home to the Engels airbase, the main hub of Russia's long-range aviation and a frequent launch point for drone and missile attacks on Ukraine. Explosions were also reported in occupied Crimea, near the Saki military airfield, as well as in the area around the local thermal power plant. Turning to the frontline now, according to the latest assessments, Russian forces maintain stable control over central Pokrovsk. The Ukrainian analytical project Deep State geolocated footage showing residents greeting Russian troops in the southern and central parts of the city, indicating firm control over these districts. Ukrainian soldiers on the ground also report that the situation in Pokrovsk is deteriorating as more Russian troops continue to amass. Further south in the Zaporizhia region, Russia has made notable advances near Huliapole. Analysts say Ukrainian defenders have managed to stabilize the defensive line immediately in front of the city, though chaos previously dominated the area on the Ukrainian side. The monitoring project StormMap reports that Russian aviation is literally wiping Huliapole off the map with guided aerial bombs, describing the situation there as hell. They note that the slowing of Russia's advance near Huliapole buys Ukraine some time to move reinforcements, reorganize, and build fortifications. Meanwhile, in the Middle East, at least 13 people, including children, have been killed and 25 wounded as Israel launched another incursion into Syrian territory in the Damascus countryside, with several Israeli soldiers also reportedly wounded in the clashes, according to Syrian state media. The Syrian civil defense said their teams were unable to reach Beit Jin to rescue the wounded because the Israeli military continues to target any movement there. In a statement posted on X, the Israeli military said 6 of its soldiers were wounded, 3 of them seriously, during an exchange of fire. The statement added that while the operation has been, and I quote, completed, and all suspects have been either arrested or eliminated, Israeli forces remain deployed in the area and I quote again, will continue to operate against any threat to Israel. Now, this video from a Ukrainian UAV demonstrates the skill of modern unmanned countermeasures. The interceptor approaching the target is guided to the Russian Lancet-type kamikaze drone. Despite the enemy's active maneuvers and attempts to evade, the Ukrainian drone demonstrates accuracy and efficiency. It catches up with the enemy drone and destroys it, scoring a clean mid-air hit. Fun fact, based on recent reports by United 24, one Ukrainian Mirage fighter pilot actually has a 98% intercept rate against enemy drones and missiles. 98%. Let that sink in. Now, moving on. Recently published videos from the helmet camera of a Russian Marine from the 336th Marine Brigade show a group of occupiers attempting to advance along the road to the village of Novotoretsk in the Donetsk region. Now, the footage shows the enemy moving under constant attack from FPV drones and mortar fire in highly dangerous conditions. The area they chose for their advance is referred to as the Road of Death by the local fighters and drone operators. Every step here can actually cost lives. The video shows significant losses in enemy manpower. Several bodies of occupiers already lie on the road, clearly demonstrating the effectiveness of Ukrainian unmanned systems and precision strikes against the Russian forces.
Еще, блядь. Давай. Мужики, бегите, блядь. Да Давай, залези. Быстрее. Его, говорю. Сань, ты течешь? Вода.
Russian air defense forces suffered losses again on one of the Ukrainian front lines. Ukrainian troops from the 413th Unmanned Systems Regiment discovered and destroyed another OSA self-propelled anti-aircraft missile system, a piece of equipment that the enemy traditionally relies on heavily to defend its front lines. The OSA is a short-range mobile complex that Russians actively use to cover their units and attempt to counter Ukrainian strike drones. However, in modern warfare, where intelligence data is processed faster and FPV pilots are more accurate, such systems are increasingly becoming targets rather than shields. Another air defense system gone, and this is actually not looking good for Russia for one particular reason. They are not just using these systems on the front line. They also need them to defend infrastructure, like refineries. The fewer air defense systems they have, the more susceptible the infrastructure is to Ukrainian attacks, the so-called kinetic sanctions. So every single hit like that might actually perhaps bring us closer to this conflict becoming resolved and Russia thinking twice about continuing this invasion. And with this we conclude this edition of Military Mind. Please stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news and updates.